Caitlin Clark finished up one of the most remarkable years of basketball playing up in quite some time.
62 records were broken, arenas were crowded, the league was changed, yet the WNBA remained silent. TV viewership increased by 300% and retail sales increased by 500% during Caitlin Clark's first season. She changed the course of basketball history, but why didn't her own league seem to care? From economic windfalls to record-breaking performances, from contentious award shows to lost marketing chances, we're delving into the perplexing discrepancy between Clark's indisputable influence and the WNBA's lackluster reaction. However, everything changed on December 9th just as tensions were at an all-time high and fan annoyance was at its peak. We'll tell the inside tale of how the league eventually realized the Caitlin Clark effect in this video, along with the actions that changed everything. Will the WNBA's treatment of its most significant star change as a result of this? I hope to become one of the world's top players someday. I wouldn't anticipate anything less. This point remained true to who I am, and I believe that will lead to a lot of positive outcomes. Imagine this, a league, empty stadiums, and declining TV ratings looking frantically for its next great star. This was the situation in the WNBA before Caitlin Clark's arrival. With annual deficits in the tens of millions and a significant reliance on NBA subsidies, the league was in terrible shape. It was losing fans quickly, and its business model was on the verge of going down. I want that for these players more than anybody else does. However, we must be in a sound financial situation. We won't put this league's financial stability in danger. After barely surviving a few years ago, we are now transitioning from surviving to thriving. We've been working on it year after year, and we'll do it when the moment is right. One would expect that the WNBA would seize the opportunity to promote. Clark is a generational talent, right? False. The league remained silent while she swept through the collegiate ranks, igniting the basketball world. They appeared to be unaware of the impending storm, which is mind-boggling to consider now. No future of the league promotions, no social media blitzes, nothing. They seem to be purposefully disregarding the most exciting advancement in women's basketball in a long time. A fever pitch of expectation grew closer to draft day. How might Clark's arrival affect the league? Would the goldmine they were going to discover cause them to awaken at last? Or will her freshman season be marked by their perplexing lack of interest? Caitlin Clark of the University of Iowa is selected by the Indiana Fever as the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. Upon hearing Clark's name called, everything was different. The most significant rookie in WNBA history had been acquired by the Indiana Fever. Social media went wild as fans rejoiced, but the league's response was rather subdued. With a star the size of Clark's, they were unsure of how to proceed. Nobody realized that Clark's draft day was only the start. In a way that few anticipated, what followed would make the WNBA face its own inadequacies. Although the Fever had their golden ticket, there was still a big uncertainty. Will Caitlin Clark's amazing collegiate skills translate to the professional ranks? Expectations weighed heavily on her as she took the court for her WNBA debut. Clark, however, was going to prove to everyone why she was the buzz of the basketball community. Doubt lurked behind the scenes. Analysts argued and veterans sneered. Could a newbie truly withstand years of when they arrive? What will the league have planned for them? As soon as her historic first season began, Clark demonstrated her belonging. Her initial attempt, on May 3rd, she made a long three against the Dallas Wings in her first preseason game, sending the crowd into a frenzy. With 21 points and a few highlight reel assists, Clark's debut stat line was impressive. She demonstrated her shooting ability by hitting both inside and outside the arc at a remarkable rate. However, it wasn't simply they that spoke. Fans and experts were in awe of Clark's court vision and ability to make incredible passes. Social media flourished as the season progressed. Highlights of Clark's no-look passes and long-range shots went viral. This rookie sensation captured the attention of fans who had never paid any attention to the WNBA. It was the most buzz the league had seen in years. Clark's influence went beyond her genius. The Indiana Fever team as a whole seemed to improve when she was on the court. After struggling in prior seasons, the team appeared revitalized and played with renewed vigor and purpose, which culminated to their first postseason trip in nearly 10 years. Now, both experts and fans were curious about how many records this young star would break before the end of her debut season. The eye test revealed a different narrative than the statistics did. Basketball purists were forced to reconsider what was feasible on a WNBA court by Clark's distinctive style of play, which included deep threes, accurate passes, and daring drives to the rim. She was altering the game, not merely raising the score. Clark maintained her composure and gave credit to her coaches and teammates instead. One thing became quite evident as the sports world was shaken by the excitement around Clark's first season. The WNBA was dealing with a new superstar. TV ratings shot through the roof, stuff flew off the shelves, and ticket sales soared. Despite the fact that Caitlin Clark was surpassing all expectations, her on-court performance was only the beginning. Clark's influence was going to go well beyond the court, changing the WNBA in ways that no one could have imagined. A crucial lesson was going to be imparted to the league. You had best be prepared for the limelight when you have a once-in-a-generation talent. She makes a difference. Someone who makes a difference is what the WNBA has been searching for. In addition to increasing Indiana Fever attendance, Clark's presence was revolutionizing the league as a whole. The story that the figures convey is amazing. It was only the sixth time in 6 WNBA games that attendance exceeded 20,000 in Washington and Las Vegas. With 20,711 spectators, the Fever's regular season finale, Capital One Arena in Washington on September 19th, set a new WNBA single-game attendance record. Clark had a significant impact outside of her home court. She was responsible for 1 out of every 6 tickets sold at WNBA arenas this season. Those who had never thought twice about the WNBA were now organizing road trips, and fans were traveling across state lines to watch her play. In order to handle the influx of spectators eager to watch Clark live, other teams had to reserve larger arenas. As the season went on, it became evident that this was more than a brief novelty. Attendance at the WNBA increased significantly for the first time since 1999, and all of the league's teams saw increases. The WNBA is now the fastest growing brand in America across all industries thanks to Clark's star power, which elevated the entire sport. Indeed, far more so than the names you see in the supermarket. Arenas all around the nation were buzzing, indicating that something really extraordinary was taking place. Clark was changing women's basketball in before of our eyes, but as record numbers of fans attended games, another revolution was taking place that would make the WNBA face some hard realities about how they treated their new star. Please remember to like, subscribe, and enable all notifications if you have watched this far and found the video entertaining. We are grateful that you have taken the time to watch this video. Let's get back to the action. There is no denying that Caitlin Clark is responsible for 99% of the WNBA's expansion. Imagine a league that appears hesitant to accept a once-in-a-generation talent while being endowed with her. The WNBA's marketing apparatus was eerily silent while the rising star filled venues and rewrote the record books. Was this a well-thought-out plan or a mistake that would backfire? Her heroics on the court enthralled both spectators and the media, but the WNBA's reaction was surprisingly subdued. The league didn't seem to know what to do with its new superstar, as seen by the lack of dazzling marketing campaigns and social media blitzes. Consider this: she was breaking attendance records and generating previously unheard of ticket sales. But where were the highlight reels that were prepared by the WNBA? What about the feature stories, the push for merchandise? The quiet was overwhelming. The opportunities that were lost mounted. Her appearances on talk shows. No connections to the WNBA. Did Forbes recognize her? Almost no word from the league. They appeared to be deliberately dodging the attention that inevitably gravitated toward her. The media and people began to pay attention as the season went on. Questions started to why didn't the WNBA take use of her fame? Confusion was exacerbated by the league's public declarations. Team rivalries and group development were frequently prioritized over individual star power by Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Many people were perplexed by this position, especially considering the obvious effect it had on viewing and attendance. But the Rookie of the Year was the best example of the WNBA's perplexing strategy. Ceremony. Imagine this: the prize was given out at a team practice rather than a lavish ceremony reflecting a remarkable season. Just a brief presentation and a photo opportunity, no media circus, no fuss. The occasion ought to have been a celebration of her contribution to the league. It seemed like an afterthought instead. The retaliation was quick and intense. Fans expressed their disgust and incredulity on social media. Equally perplexed, sports analysts questioned the WNBA's marketing approach or lack thereof. It became evident that something had to give as the criticism grew. Her undeniable star power and the WNBA's unwillingness to accept it were becoming increasingly strained. Supporters were clamoring for more material, more acknowledgement of her accomplishments, and more celebration of the thrill she added to the match. How much longer could the WNBA keep this odd hush going? Would they continue to miss opportunities, or would they eventually realize the impact she was having? Change appeared to be inevitable as the pressure increased. What shape would it take, and would it be too little, too late? That was the only question. Both fans and onlookers were taken aback by the WNBA's abrupt acceptance of Caitlin Clark's star power. The league has now chosen to make Clark the focal point of its Rookie Week campaign after months of largely silent treatment. Many questioned whether it was too late to take use of her influence after this abrupt change. But the first was this Instagram post, which marked the WNBA's first official acknowledgement of Clark's amazing rookie campaign. This includes her most well-known ones for everyone to view, even though it doesn't include all 62. For a complete list of her accomplishments and records, we'll include a link in the comments. Their website revamp came next. With the announcement of the 2025 season schedule, Clark is now highlighted on the WNBA's webpage. Speaking of timetables, Clark's team, the Indiana Fever, would be heavily featured in the schedule for the forthcoming season. The high point. With extensive network coverage, Clark will play Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky in the primetime season opener. With so many high-profile games on the Fever schedule, Clark was in the spotlight all season long. This strategy was a significant change from the year before and might have indicated the WNBA's dedication to the Caitlin Clark period. Is Clark's star power finally being completely embraced by the WNBA? Women's basketball seemed to have endless possibilities. One question remained as the 2025 season drew near. Will this momentum be maintained by the WNBA? What a fantastic time for our game and its players on a worldwide basis. The fans are amazing. The same thing happens when we travel. A lot of individuals in Fever gear show up. It's having a significant impact on clubs around our league, which is fantastic. Furthermore, I believe we're only beginning to explore the possibilities. The influence of Caitlin Clark went well beyond them. Basketball court, changing women's basketball's financial landscape. With an astounding 95% of her $11.1 million in 2024 coming from endorsements, Clark was among the top paid female athletes in the world and the highest paid in the WNBA. The WNBA was changed by Clark's arrival. During her debut season, the Indiana Fever averaged over 17,000 fans per game, setting a new attendance record. Clark's games drew an average of 1.2% during the WNBA season, and TV ratings skyrocketed.